One of our biggest priorities from the very beginning is giving you the ability and capacity to empower your leaders to do ministry because, for one, you shouldn't do it on your own, and two, you can't do it on your own. Not just because whether you've got a lot of staff or you're alone as far as being paid staff. You could get stretched too thin, but also your students need as many godly people, grown-ups, adults as possible, pouring into their lives and giving them guidance, counsel, and wisdom. And so we want to be able to do that. So one, we give you the opportunity to add as many leaders as possible. Two, you notice our app's free. I get you have to pay for the service. We would love to do that free as well, but between the time and the hosting costs and other things, we just can't do it, and I apologize for that. Maybe someday it'll get to change, but you can get the app for free. So that way, as you add leaders, they can download. You don't have to ask them to pay for anything, and then they can go in and they can help you out. And so, want to let you know just a couple things about that and kind of how the roles work, and we'll go through this. So, with leaders, um, you can go in and add them, or just like with students, I can import them for you, and I'd love to do that. So please let me know. So you've got your leader screen where you can edit them, you can view their information, you can remove them if you need to for whatever reason. And as always, desktop and app version, you've got different options, different things you can do. Now with the desktop version, or the app version, sorry, you can also do the filtered list for creating groups and messaging them. If you've not seen that video on the students page, go check that out. It's really awesome and it makes things quick and easy, okay? You can also add, obviously add leaders in. Now I will tell you this first page, everything's required except for adding to groups. So I will let you know that they don't have an email address, which I doubt, or they just don't want to give it to you, or you haven't gotten it yet. You can make one up for them because that's what they're going to use to log in is email and password that you set up. And so let's just pretend it's yourchurch.com. That's your church website. You could be buck@yourchurch.com. It's a fake email, I know, but as long as it's that email format, the system's happy. And so it's just one way to get things set up if leaders don't want to give the info, you don't have time to grab it right now. Okay, so you can set that up, come back and update it later. So you can add them in. You're known as roles. Admin pretty much gives them full capabilities. So maybe they're basically like a paid staff member for you. They're kind of that high capacity leader. Then you can put them as admin and they can do and see everything. If you make them a leader, that's basically going to restrict them to only view students and groups that they're assigned to as a leader of. We kind of did that for, combination of security reasons, really not giving them full access to all students. But also, to help you, I know you've done a lot of work importing things, putting things in, getting data. And so, just that way they can't just go and delete a group and delete a kid and do those kinds of things. So it's up to you. You decide what the role is depending on who the, the leader is. Okay. So that's in. Now, once they're in, then they can do a lot of things to help you out. And here's just a few ideas. So for example, with students, they can help you add students in. If they click students as a leader, they're going to get sent straight to this form, the add students form. And so let's say it's a midweek. All right, they can be logged into their account, okay? And granted, I'm in admin roles, it's going to look a little different, but they can log into their account and then they can go to the add student form and they could be maybe working a kiosk or walking around with their device and they could get the student in for you, they could put them into groups. And then that way, you're freed up to do other things and you're empowering your leaders to be a part of your ministry and to serve. And so if kids are feeling connected, you've got, lots of coverage of your event as far as, floor space and making sure every kid's feeling connected. And so that's just one way. They could help you add kids. Another great thing is they can take attendance. So whether you have them sit around tables, they have their own classrooms, or they meet in home groups, all right? You can have them take attendance. So I'm going to go to groups here. I'm going to go to 10th grade boys, and I'm going to do this from my phone just for grins. Okay, so let's say I'm a home group, and that's where we do our Sunday, our Bible study. A lot of us would call it Sunday school. You may call it something else. Okay, and so I'm going to set this for Sunday because I'm going to pretend like it's Sunday that I've done this. All right, I set the name of the event, the date. Your leaders can do this for you. And so I can sit here and submit they were here. Buck, me, was absent today. I submit attendance. I'm good to go. Now here's what's cool. When they're adding kids, when they're taking attendance, that's not tied to their device. That's not tied to their account. It's tied to your ministry. So you can log in, you can see that data, you can see how things are going, how your groups are going. So you don't have to be everywhere to do it. You don't have to ask them to email you something or screenshot something. You can just log in and see it and pull up all that info. So that's one cool thing. All right. Now, here's another cool thing. So we can take attendance. We can help add kids in. They have access to communicate to their groups, so they can do group messaging. So maybe you want to challenge them and say, hey, I want you to do follow up 2 or 3 times a week, whatever it is. They've got the capacity to do that, and you can hold them accountable and talk to them about those things. But then after they take attendance, we've also got this events here, 10th. So I'm going to pull up, I can sit here and search my events. All right. And let's see if I can filter. I'm going to do it this way. 2017-09-24, because that's the date I set it for. So it pulls up. They could search by group name. They can search by event name, but they can filter it up. And they go edit view, and they get this report here that they can see they had 2 kids show up, 2 out of 3, so they can get a gauge of how much of my kids are actually showing up. They can edit things if they messed up, so they can unsubmit these kids. Let's say they messed up and I was there, they can come back and submit me in, so they can update all that info for you. But here's the other cool thing they can do, and they can do this on the desktop version as well if they prefer. But here's why I like it on the app. So they pull this app up to generate this contact sheet, and you can see, since I've got phone numbers and email, I can sit here and tap and text and call and email and do follow-up for all my events. So you could challenge your leaders and empower them to say, hey, every Monday after your Sunday Bible study, I want you to do follow-up with at least maybe all your kids if it's a group of 3, or at least 2 kids, and just change up which kids it does every week. So you can do that, and your leaders have the power to do those things. It's a really awesome feature, and I think it's going to be a huge thing for that. The other thing is with the planner, you can, as you push things out, okay, and you create events and do different things, these are recurring events that I have in here. They can add events and kind of make reminders for themselves, but you can also do it, put in a description, and you can copy and paste an outline, or you can add an attachment and do that. And so when you've created this event and you've pushed this out and you have shared it with your leaders, the share leader option here, okay, once you've done that and you've created that event, that's going to show up in their planner, okay? And so they can sit here and pull that up, and you don't have to share small group discussion questions with them, leader meeting outlines, as far as printing and having stacks of stuff or folders and binders. You can share that all digitally on a weekly basis, and they'll know to pull it up, and it's actually there real quick. Another thing, I almost forgot this one. And granted, I'm doing this all on a device. This would work on a laptop or a tablet. But I know for me personally as a leader with us using this is some of my favorite features. So I'm showing you how I do it. Leader resources. And so for example, with Fuel, okay, we didn't create any of these yet, but Fuel's our Sunday morning Bible study. So if you wanted to create stuff, for the Sunday morning Bible studies or midweeks or whatever, you can do that, okay? And so they can sit here and they can access this and do all these things and interact with it. They can highlight and annotate notes, and so they can pull all that up in like in a digital format. And so they have those things for the week, and you can avoid making books and binders and things of that nature. Okay, so all sorts of cool stuff and features. And just to show you, because sometimes I'm in a mood and I just take my Chromebook with me. It just kind of depends on the day, how I'm feeling. So I can do that. I can click. I can say, great, opening, to remind myself that, hey, I want to talk about that, okay? And so it's there and I'm good to go. So all sorts of cool options and things that they can do, from curriculum to notes to resources to training. Because like I said, with that planner, you could put, or leader resources, you could push out a whole video course, maybe for new leaders. You like to do training, but there's no time. Create screenshot videos like I do, or FaceTime videos, and push those out as a resource from our ministry admin console. And you can create those resources and do those things. So lots of options, but again, it's about empowering leaders so you're not doing ministry on your own because you shouldn't and you can't. And then your leaders get to make an impact for the kingdom, and your ministry makes a greater impact for the kingdom.